Okay. Next is Dungeon Academy by Alex Oakchest. It is 159 pages, $2.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited, and here is the author's description. You only live once, unless you're resurrected to become the master of a dungeon. When Beno died and was offered a second chance as a dungeon core, he dived right in. He joined the Dungeon Core Academy and found himself in a new life where killing heroes wasn't just accepted, but encouraged. Under the tutelage of the Academy overseers, he learned how to make dungeons filled with monsters and traps. Now he has finally been given his own dungeon, and he must pass his final test. Either build a dungeon powerful enough to slay heroes, or fail and get smashed up into core dust. Will he apply all his diabolical dungeon strategy to succeed? But what happens when an unexpected visitor walks into his lair? He used to live a normal life. Now he builds dungeons, creates monsters, and uses them to fight loot-hungry heroes. This is actually a cute story. The first 20% is a little traditional in that it's just a dungeon core kind of talking to himself and the audience. And it's a lot of stuff. If you've liked dungeon core stories, you're going to see a lot of familiar things and how he's figuring out how to use his mana efficiently, starting out and taking risks and planning things out. And he's kind of describing the things he learned in the Dungeon Academy that he used to attend. The story is told from the perspective of a dungeon core who went to an academy and is now an actual official dungeon and is allowed to design his own kind of system. But he also still has to answer to his Dungeon Academy professors who are going to be judging him and either giving him bonuses or boosts or detriments, depending on how they kind of judge his dungeon. And the first 20% is a lot of monologuing from the main character. So it's a little hard to get through initially. But even then, it wasn't boring or anything. It's just a lot of the same character talking. Then about the 30% mark, things shift for the better, because you get introductions to new characters, you get minions, you get a little human girl who used to be a dungeon core as a character. You get more interaction, and so the main character has an opportunity to talk to their people, other characters, to make jokes, to make references, and the dialogue definitely improves. And it was just overall just a much more enjoyable, cute story, and I really enjoyed it a lot more after that 30% mark. So if you find yourself struggling a little bit, just kind of try to push through at least to that point to give it a shot of when it does improve a lot in that respect. But from then on, the story is actually really fun. It's pretty fun, I should say. The main character tries to balance his experiments and his dungeon creating with crafting his dungeon, dealing with the Academy overseers judging him, and the adventures that eventually come through. It's a good story if you like dungeon core novels. If you don't like dungeon core novels, I don't see this being as interesting to you, but if you do, this is definitely going to be something that feels good, because it kind of combines dungeon core, the dungeon core stuff with kind of a magical academy vibe, in that the main character is often referencing the things he learned at the Dungeon Core Academy, and his interactions with other dungeon cores, the things he learns, the lessons, the magical traits, and there's the story kind of peripherally refers to it a lot. So I enjoyed it. I had to give it a score of 7.6 out of 10. That's Dungeon Core Academy with a score of 7.6 out of 10. But again, I like Dungeon Core novels, so that's why I enjoyed it quite a bit.